The future is AI. I think everybody knows that. You were mentioning earlier, what if the intelligence agencies step back, let AI take more of a role, field officers submit their reports directly to AI, AI becomes kind of the consummate central repository for information. All of that is phenomenal in theory. In practice, it'll take some getting used to. But what I'll also say is CIA has been using AI from before I joined in 2007. They've been using AI produced by contracts that are still classified that you can find on the open internet, but I can't acknowledge them. There were contracts that were using AI to do exactly what you were saying, to take raw data and use it to create networks that could be analyzed by human analysts and converted into targeting matrices for operators to pursue. So we've been using this since 2006, 2007. We know it's
in ways that would shock people.
I don't think it would shock people because we all know how AI works now.
Right.
But in 2008, people would have found it shocking.
Yeah.
But we're cutting thousands of research hours. That's what we were doing when I was still there, cutting thousands of research hours to get information that was actionable in hours instead of in months. So that there's no reason to believe that that wouldn't be the cause or the case for the future. AI that prioritizes, AI that highlights, AI that risk calculates, AI that could potentially tell us what would have happened in Afghanistan and Syria faster than humans told us. But the common denominator is still the person who has to scrub the AI output to determine whether or not it's prioritized correctly or quality.
What about AI that kills? You think that's the future of warfare?
I think that's the direction it needs to go, frankly.
Needs to go.
Yeah. Because when you have the problem that exists right now, and you're seeing it with the fact that Netanyahu's sitting on a tribunal with the ICC, everything is subjective right now. People think something, people say something, there's no objective data behind it. So then they have to make decisions based off of subjective data. Is Netanyahu a war criminal? Maybe. Did he take actions intending to become a war criminal? Probably not. But we don't know because we don't have any objective proof. And if that trial moves forward, what kind of evidence are they going to collect? Same thing with Putin. Putin is also accused by the ICC of being a war criminal. Did he take actions that were criminal in nature? Maybe. But it's just as justifiable that he approved actions that were being taken because Ukraine had established a policy that forced people to enlist. Now, all Ukrainian infrastructure is essentially pulled into the military conflict effort. Therefore, all Ukrainian infrastructure is now a military target. How do you try that? How do you objectively determine, yes, he's a war criminal, no, he's not? Yes, it was a legit target, no, it was not. We're seeing the same thing with Israel bombing hospitals in Gaza. Now there are some people saying, well, those hospitals haven't demonstrated enough proof to have been valid military targets. How are you going to prove that? With a computer-driven, AI-driven system, all of that is logged. It's all put into ones and zeros. It's all fed into a blockchain. It's all irrefutable evidence in the future because it was a program that chose to pull the trigger. And that program can be assessed, updated, hacked. There's vulnerabilities, right? But it also means less living people have to die. You could have one tier 1 operator controlling 5 robots that are driven by their own AI that are actually taking down a building. That's exactly what the United States Air Force has done with drone operators that sit in Nevada and fly Reaper drones all throughout the Middle East. They can literally they can jump from drone to drone to drone. So this one person can run 5 combat sorties from 5 separate drones that have just been orbiting. What a day at work that is, dude. You show up and you're like, oh, drone A, neutralized, drone B, neutralized. And they do the work. All this person has to do is carry the qualifications to say the feed is accurate, the drones are up to date, targets have been neutralized. Then the drones tell you everything else.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think drones, first of all, getting cheaper is going to be a huge thing. But then the fighter jets that they have, AI versus AI wins, I think, like 100 out of 100 times against a human. It's pretty interesting. I don't know what that will do to war, though, when you're suddenly like, oh, I'm not worried about risking lives in the immediate sense, but I am going to, like has happened in the Gaza Strip, just make it uninhabitable. And so, yeah, I mean, look, saving human lives, way better. I would rather a city get destroyed than lose all the people. but unchecked aggression because, oh, well, nobody's getting killed in this. This is how you can completely dismantle infrastructure and really cause major problems to quality of life.
So before you go down too scary a road, right? There is checked aggression because the response is the check and balance to the aggression. And then at the end of the day, you also have the intellectual property that goes into the mechanics of the machine. So now it can make sense if you're thinking through a movie lens. Oh, we have robotic drones and they're going to attack. And then we have robotic anti-aircraft systems and they're going to counterattack. And it's going to be constant conflict. The truth is, as soon as those robotic drones come in and get neutralized, that's a treasure trove of intelligence. So now the anti-aircraft might shoot them down and then people swoop in and they pull out the code, the targeting systems, they hack through the encryption. It's a massive loss. So that is the deterrent against it. So what you see here is as one technology increases, that is an offensive technology, the opposition also increases their investments into security to deter the first one from moving forward. And then the first one invests more and the second one invests more and it keeps on going up.
Escalating arms race.
I mean, an arms race is what we know it as. It's a security dilemma. That's what it's called. The security dilemma, which is that even if no conflict exists, everybody's investing on both sides. You buy a house, I buy a house next door. We just have houses. You put up a fence. Well, why did you put up a fence? I don't know. So I put up a fence to make sure that I'm not falling behind while you put up a fence. You get a dog. Why'd you get a dog? So I get a dog. You train your dog to be a guard dog. I train my dog to be a guard dog. You buy a handgun, I buy a handgun. You buy a better lock, I buy a better lock. All of a sudden, people drive by both of our houses on the street and they're like, two compounds, right? Both alike in dignity in Fair Verona where we let our scene. But that's the security dilemma. We're seeing that happen all over the world. It's also predictable because as one person feels threatened by their neighbor, they take actions to feel less in danger if their neighbor chooses to take their defensive posture and make it an offensive posture. The same thing's going to happen with AI. People are going to be investing in it. People are going to be growing their capability, but that doesn't mean there's going to be unchecked aggression. It does mean that there'll be more to lose when you carry out an attack, which makes for more testing, which is what we're seeing all over the world right now. The reason Ukraine still stands is because Russia is holding back some of its best weaponry. We saw that with Oreshnik. Oreshnik is, nobody saw that coming in the public sector, right? An ICBM launching conventional weapons at a speed that no intercept could predict. So if Russia's holding back and Ukraine's all in, then who's got the advantage of information here, right? Hamas and Lebanon and Hezbollah lobbying homemade rockets into Israel. And still, even with those homemade rockets, 10% of them get through the missile defense shield. What's that tell Iran about their top shelf cruise missiles and about their custom made drones, right? So now Iran gets to test those every now and then in these large launches. 25%, 30% get through. That's incredibly informative information. But the flip side is now whatever was on those drones, Israel has access to and now understands the capability of the drones that come from Iran.
Yeah, this is going to start to get weird when you look at somewhere like Israel that's so close with neighbors that want to blow it up. When you get a Chinese-style swarm of drones that can come over in the thousands armed, even if armed with just grenades, like that can get gnarly really fast.
What do you think about this video? Leave your comment, like the video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to follow me on X for more exclusive content.